The honeymoon is over. You've seen all the comments, all the reviews, all the love, all the hates, all the polarized reviews, and you're thinking, is this still for you? And I just wanted to see after 2 weeks if this thing is still for me. If you're a straight Android user and you have no desire to go into the Apple ecosystem, you definitely will be hating these. These are not for you. And if you were just here to buy the AirPods Max purely for an audio perspective, then no, you will be disappointed, especially at this price point. If you are partially into Apple, Windows user, you have some Apple devices, maybe an iPhone, a tablet, and you're thinking if $550 US is something that you want to invest in, if honestly you have the money to spend without thinking twice, then yes, this is a worthy purchase. If $550 is something that you have to scrape and wait for a special day, then I think you'd be disappointed with this purchase. If you're purely into the Apple ecosystem, you have a MacBook, you have a desktop, you have their phones, and you have the tablets, then this is honestly a no-brainer purchase to have. It's a nice addition, and it's something that Apple definitely thought about, again, within their ecosystem. It's not something that they created to appease audiophiles for sure are going to be disappointed. And if you're here to spend $550 thinking that you will purely get $550 worth of sound quality, then no, you will be disappointed. So with that out of the way, let's try to address some issues that people were chiming in. So the first comment at this point is people taking this out of the box and being surprised that it's cold to the touch. And I mean, honestly, this is made of metal. It's aluminum. How can this not be cold, in all honesty? I guess it's a cute reaction to finally have metal cans for them and to touch metal cans. But if you've previously owned metal cans, then it's not a surprise that you're gonna feel cold or heat over time depending on your ambient temperature. Next, weight. People were complaining, or not complaining, I guess some were complaining, some were chiming in about the hefty weight of this. This is 13.6 ounces. That's 384.8 grams. And they were saying, these were heavy. Again, naturally, if you own plastic cans, plastic headphones, something as light as, the AKG K371, if you own something as plastic as this, or even wireless headphones that have batteries and they're maybe 100 grams lighter, those Sonys and the Bose, made out of all plastic. And again, that's not a bad thing because you want portability and you want something light. But in terms of weight, 384 grams, it is heavy for headphones. But in terms of the material, the build, having, again, metal construction, aluminum, you have the stock here, the column, which is made of stainless steel, and basically, obviously, you have batteries. This is going to be heavy. But to put this into perspective as to the weight, again, 13.6 ounces with a battery that does active noise cancellation, transparency, computational audio, versus Beyerdynamic DT177X Go. These are 14.6 ounces. This is heavier than the AirPods Max, and this has no battery, this has no active noise cancellation, it has no computational audio. It's a straight audiophile product per se. And guess what? You also are provided with a cable, a long ass cable that's supposed to be an old product, and you have all this snaking around you, and it's not wireless, and yet it's still heavier. So if you've been used to plastic construction products, then yes, this will definitely be so heavy. But again, if you've owned metal cans in the past, and you know how heavy these things are, and these are heavier again than the AirPods Max, then this is a relative weight. It's not surprising. In terms of comfort, we all know that it's very subjective, because some people think these are the most comfortable headphones they've ever tried on. Again, it depends on the shape of your head. It depends on how sensitive you are to the materials. The canopy made of mesh is nice. I was surprised because these two ends are hard. You know, it's rubber, but it doesn't bend, obviously, so it's not gonna conform to your head at this point. So I was afraid that this mesh part will bottom out, and now these two stalks will be hitting your head, because now there's no foam padding at this point. But I was honestly surprised on this being comfortable enough that I didn't feel these two metal ends sit on my head. So yeah, the mesh honestly did its part. And for my head, is it the most comfortable? Uh, no. Again, for $550, I expected, and it's not really the price. It's not because it's $550, but it's because it's Apple. I know Apple does their research. I know they over engineer things. So I did expect like some magical weight reduction. And again, for people seeing headphones that are these heavy for the first time, then yeah, it is magical. But if you've had headphones heavier with ample padding all around and good padding on your ears, I was surprised that Apple couldn't make it more comfortable than I thought it was supposed to be. And again, your mileage may vary. Some people say they can wear this for hours, and some people say they can't stand it for more than half an hour. Apple allows you to return these headphones within 14 days if you purchased it from an Apple store. And that's a good thing, because they're not forcing you to buy it. They want you to try it, obviously, and they want you to love it. But if you're not the audience for it, then just return it. Comments on the ear cushions: it's nice memory foam, it's magnet. It's not my first magnetic ear cushion, or anyone's, especially if you're a gamer. You know that gamer headphones did build super comfortable ear cushions, and they were magnetic. I had a Turtle Beach gaming headphone a while back before I changed to a Razer, and I did enjoy the Turtle Beach because again it was magnetic, it's easy on and off, and I'm glad Apple actually did the same and made them easy to swap, easy to clean. Recommendation is to wipe clean with a damp cloth and let it dry for 24 hours. Obviously, you don't want any mold growing and wearing them while they're still wet. Again, like any comments, I was surprised at Apple. Yes, there is obviously a left and a right. That's only because of the optical sensor at this point. Yeah, I mean, I would, I guess I'd say it's a little bit stupid that Apple did allow you to reverse the ear cups or put it upside down and still work. There should be two polarized magnets that says, hey, it spits it out, or it doesn't allow you to latch onto it if that happens. But I don't know. I honestly don't know what Apple was thinking at this point. That is a disappointment for me. That the fact that there's an optical sensor here, the fact that there is only one way to put it, and you can't put it another way, otherwise you'd be blocking the optical sensor. Let's touch up on the buttons. The buttons is, I think it's a love-hate for me, because I like the fact that it did come from inspiration from their watch. the nice crown, and then you have the same style of button here. Placement is fine. I like it. I definitely love a push button versus a touch capacitive thing for the Sony. I do like a tactile feedback. And that's where I guess I'm complaining a bit more, because Apple did go the tactile feedback route, but they didn't go far enough. Two things I was complaining about this in a way is because, one, I did want a little bit more resistance when you're turning. It's easy to nudge it as you're adjusting the ear cups and within your ear. If you're saying, hey, I need to adjust it a little bit, and then you kind of nudge it just slightly, and this dial actually addresses that issue. So I did love that part, but the fact that I can accidentally nudge the crown without any resistance is a personal complaint of mine. It's $550. Is it something I should return because it's not there? No, but I wish Apple thought about this further, and I wish there actually is the vibration, a physical vibration that you feel as you nudge it, just to say, hey, you actually nudged it, and do you want to go any further and actually adjust the volume? For example, if I nudge it accidentally and it's gonna vibrate, and you didn't want to adjust the volume, then you don't do anything. But if within a second or two you still nudge it further, then that's when the volume adjustment should happen. I think Apple should have done that versus instantaneously adjusting the volume as you nudge it. Just letting you know that Apple, from the initial setup, it gives you the two options, either active noise cancellation or transparency. It doesn't give you the off button by default, and you're gonna have to set it up from your phone or from your tablet or your computer. And that's how confident Apple is. Yeah, people have been avoiding some colors, especially like this silver white combination. There were postings on Instagram where they were showing how dirty this mesh canopy became immediately after a few days of use. And yeah, I'd recommend, if you are a person that wears hair products, I would avoid the light color, silver, and I believe the green, which has a light one. It doesn't mean the darker colors won't be dirty. It just means that, obviously it won't show because it's dark. Here's something I don't like about this AirPods Max, among other things that I discussed. But still, it is a keeper. But for me, here's something I don't like. Yes, people are complaining about a $35 cable that you have to buy. It's not included. Gosh, it's so flimsy. And people were saying, yeah, that's because, you don't want any rubbing sounds. And that's fine. Yeah, that is understandable. It is a thin cable. I expected Apple to actually, if they were selling a cable or even supplying one, just like the Mac Pro, they supply these nice braided cables that it's thick, it's sturdy. It doesn't even, I don't hear microphonics. It's very professional. It fits this more than this flimsy cable that they already have been selling, I guess, for the Beats headphones at this point. And I get it. With Apple, it's because, again, Apple's gonna say, hey, you know what? It's really not meant to be listened wired. This is a wireless headphones, and this is how you should treat it. And the only reason why we're supplying you a bi-directional cable is because if you do need to go hook up to an airplane, then this is the way to go. But if you're not on an airplane and you're really just at home, you don't need to do wired. And people were complaining, hey, if I want to do audio video editing, then I do need a wire. I would recommend this for video editing. If you want some critical listening, I'm gonna go back to the AKGs. Or if you really want a kind of warm signature sound, then I'd go to the Beyerdynamics, both wired. I wouldn't use this for wired listening, and here's why. This is meant to take in digital files. It's meant to take in digital audio at this point. There is no analog audio here. So the best input really at this point is Bluetooth. It's because it's feeding Apple's AAC digital files and processing that and spitting out analog audio through the speakers. This cable, and that's why it's also expensive, is because This is a mini analog to digital converter. This plugs into your analog port. People will be plugging this into the headphone port, and this plugs into your AirPods Max lightning port over here, right? So the problem with this is you're feeding analog audio, converting it to digital. So it's an analog to digital converter. So this chip inside here converts it to digital. And once you have the digital file here at the end, the AirPods Max takes the digital, reprocesses it back to analog through its own digital to analog converter inside the headphones, and then back to analog. It's just a workaround for Apple for convenience when you're traveling, again, in airplanes that need these. But if you're thinking of doing this for at home, I wouldn't recommend it. How many conversions are you doing? Let's count. Let's pretend you're on your laptop. So you're listening, you're on your internet, you're taking in digital files, and your laptop is actually converting it digital to analog converter within your laptop to an analog signal, so that the analog signal can feed into here. So you had one conversion from digital to analog in your laptop. In order to get the signal here, which is analog, you're reconverting that analog signal that your laptop just converted from digital, and it's now back to digital again. So this is your second conversion of that same file from your internet. So now you're back in digital, and from digital, Apple goes back and processes that digital signal back to analog so you can listen to it. In terms of sound quality, I don't know why people are saying the wired will give this a better sound quality. Honestly, it won't, in my opinion, based on that amount of conversion it has to go through, and based on the distortion of the volume if you're using a headphone port. Maybe they were using their own DAC at this point with a unbalanced output. Then yeah, it will give you good sound quality. But if you want a nice straight through one-time conversion from your internet audio files, or from your hard drive, those digital files, the digital files will be fed via AAC straight to the headphones, and then it's converted to analog. So that's just a one-time conversion. That's all you need. You don't need multiple conversions just by using this expensive cable. Honeymoon is over. People have chimed in. I chimed in. 2 weeks later, it's still a keeper for me. There's no divorce at this point. I mean, at $550, if it hurts for you, don't buy it. If you only have one chance to spend $550 and you are expecting to experience the best audio, then no, this is not for you. If you have $550 and it won't hurt in a way, and you're like, you know what, I appreciate the Apple design, whatever they give me, and people will say that's being a sheeple. I mean, if it doesn't hurt and you want to experience an Apple product in terms of spatial audio, computational audio, yeah, this is like a no-brainer, honestly. I'm expecting maybe an Apple TV in 2021 this year that's going to have spatial audio, and that's what I'm hoping these headphones are capable of doing. And before I go, I just wanted to shout out to Apple's engineer, Tomlinson Hallman. People have been talking about Apple's audio products from the HomePod down to the HomePod Mini and the AirPods Pro, and then to the AirPods Max. And you know what? People have been forgetting like who's actually behind these audio products, and it's Tomlinson Hallman. And for those people who are not familiar with Tomlinson Hallman, he's someone who, when he was with Lucas, he created the THX, and he was the one who created the THX experience, which is why THX, Tomlinson Hallman experience. Apple tapping him, I guess 10 years ago to this date at this point, is I guess the best move for Apple, because prior to Tomlinson Hallman, if you remember, the iPod Hi-Fi, I guess Apple wants to forget about that, and even the AirPods, the original AirPods, where I guess he was just like joining in at that point, and they were trying to still experiment where the sound signature will go. And guess what? With the AirPods Pro and the HomePod, and in now the AirPods Max, you can see where the technology is going, where the sound signature is going. Hopefully, you make your $550 experience worthwhile for you. If you don't like it, don't buy it. If you don't like Apple, don't buy it. If you're an Android user, don't buy it. And again, if you're gonna have to use them wirelessly. Don't use them wired. It's not the way to go. And enjoy.